Well, thanks for checking out this kind of showreel or trip down memory lane in a lot of ways in making the web show. Something I used to put together by myself with a home video camera. I'd travel around a lot of the times just spontaneously, taking a tripod with me and setting it up to record interviews, or if I had a friend with me at the time, they'd hold the camera and I'd do the interviews. And I loved asking questions about people chasing dreams and what inspires them. And one of the first people I filmed with actually was in New York City, one of the icons in the Naked Cowboy in New York.
I'm the naked cowboy coming to a town near you. Right back here.
Mate, how long have you been had the dream of being here playing guitar in your underwear? How long has that been going on for?
Well, I've been the naked cowboy 4.5 years as far as actually being in my underwear, boots, and hat, which is, by the way, a registered trademark. I did 2.5 years of traveling around the country. I was arrested 49 times, which got me on like Inside Edition, Hard Copy, Entertainment Tonight, all the big shows, the big news cover shows. 2.5 years ago, I came here to Times Square. I was $40,000 in debt at that point from being arrested and everything else on credit cards, and basically traveling and staying in hotels, waiting for the big call for my Calvin Klein, Joe Boxer, Stetson hats, Dingo, someone like that, thinking that was just going to happen. Someone tried to put a $5 bill in my boot 2.5 years ago today. Now I make $1,000 a day. I have no debt. My mother has no debt. My girlfriend has no debt. And basically anybody who knows me, it's a friend of mine, has no debt.
Yeah, so like I said, random and spontaneous, like the day in Los Angeles at a cafe. I just happened to see one of my favorite actors sitting there on the big screen or from TV, a super cool guy in actor James Woods.
And this is James Woods, which just blows me away, who's a fantastic actor, been in some amazing films.
Thanks. So we're just sitting here having a
and we bugged him, and look what happens.
Kidnap me.
Yeah. Are you living your dream? Is this something you always wanted to do, to be an actor?
Well, I always wanted to be a theater actor, but I never imagined being a movie actor because I was never sort of a good-looking guy like you. I was just sort of like a regular average Joe, and I used to just do theater for fun. I mean, when I was in college, and then I really enjoyed it so much. I thought, well, I'll just give it a try, but it's not too likely. And then the next thing I knew, theater was going well, and I tried out for a movie, and I got the part, and I lucked out, did a couple of TV shows, and just sort of kind of worked my way up through the ranks to get a career. So, and now I love it. I mean, it's a great life. There's what's not to love.
Another great memory was being in New York to hang out with little Stephen Van Zandt, who of course tours the world with Bruce Springsteen, became a big star with the TV show The Sopranos, and it was fun to ask him about the day, literally, that his life changed.
February 9th, 1964 changed everything. It was the day that the Beatles played a variety show here called Ed Sullivan. And in those days, the entire family watched this show. It's hard to imagine.
There wasn't many channels back then, was there?
No.
That was the big show at Sullivan.
Literally 3 channels, but something like 73 million people watched that night, which was...
Remember the song they did?
Sorry?
Do you remember the song they played?
Yeah, they started with All My Lovin', and they did... I think 5 that first night, I think. They did the Cornball Classic, Till There Was You, for the older folks. Probably I Want to Hold Your Hand, probably She Loves You, and maybe Twist and Shout, something like that.
Wow.
They were on three successive weeks. And literally the whole world changed that day, actually. I mean, our culture completely changed that day. It was the Big Bang in sort of separating the past from the present.
Another icon is the legendary Kamal, and it was great to ask him some stories about chasing dreams.
Did you hire one of the big halls in England on your own and do your own tour or something like that? Because that sounds like a pretty big dream.
Well, that was in London.
Tell me about that.
In 1975. Because I wanted the agents in London to take notice of me. They wouldn't. Yeah. So I said, if you don't do it, I'll do it myself. Because, Roger Moore, the ex-James Bond guy, his wife, Dorothy Squires, when her career was taking a dip, she went and hired the Palladium, did her own show. I said, a woman can do it, surely a man can do it.
It's not a small venue, though, is it? That's a really popular, big venue.
2,000 people. And I had the Palladium and promoted it. And the story of it got to Europe. Within 5 weeks, I was flown to Europe to record a song called The Elephant Song. The #1 song in Europe for 6 weeks. Yeah, that's a dream.
That's a big dream.
I didn't even dream about that.
It just happened.
No, it just happened.
Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen if you sit on your backside. You got to get off your backside and promote.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Like, do you have advice for young people out there? And forgetting it's music or anything in life, what would you say to young people about getting out there and chasing dreams?
I think you got to have a fire in your belly. You know, if you really believe something, and if your mind and your heart says you can, you can. But if your mind says you can, your heart says it can't, problem. You got to coordinate your mind-heart coordination together. Then you have a cutting edge, and you can cut through anything. And then, if you're lucky enough to find one single other human being who shares the dream with you.
Now, one of the interviews that wasn't easy to film was with former middleweight champion Jake LaMotta. They made a movie about his life called Raging Bull, one of the great films of all time, but it was pretty hardcore, sitting with him asking about his childhood.
You asked my attitude, I was very happy. I didn't know, I thought everybody was like that. You know, I thought the whole world was like that. I had a lot of fun when I was a kid. Starving, but we managed to grab food from the push cars, from the wagons, from the stuff like that. We managed to grab food to survive, but it was fun doing it.
So from Jake LaMotta to one of the top adult film stars in the world in Jessica Drake, and it was fun having the camera on set in a house in the Hollywood Hills and to be able to film a quick chat with her too.
All right, so on the set in Hollywood with the lovely Jessica Drake from Wicked Pictures, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, and we're on the set of The Collector, directed by Brad Armstrong for Wicked Pictures, and it's being shot on film. It's very exciting.
Okay, now can I ask a little bit about you? Where'd you grow up in America?
I'm originally from San Antonio,
Okay.
Texas. I'm a Texas girl.
How does a young Texas girl end up in Hollywood working in the adult industry? I'd love to know that.
Luck.
Really? Something you always wanted to do?
Originally I wanted to feature dance. I wanted to be one of those girls that the club pays and you go do the big shows. And I was really interested in that, and so I went to go and meet some people, and I ended up meeting Michael Raven, who is also a contract player for Wicked, and he pretty much brought me into it.
Okay.
So that was about 4 years ago.
And now a lot of people in the world want to think that they can love their job, so let me ask you, do you love your job?
I love my job.
What's your favorite thing about it?
The absolute favorite thing to me about my job would have to be the fact that I have great sex with people, and then we all go home afterwards.
Another great memory was catching up with Rosario Dawson in New York. Rosario is one of the top young actresses in Hollywood and an awesome lady, and it was fun to sit down with her and film a chat about some of the things outside of film that she's passionate about. Dreams-wise for you, I guess you're living it, but was there any other dreams you had as a kid growing up apart from film?
You know, I wanted to sing. I wrote like pop songs when I was 6, and I would, you know, make my family listen to me dance to Sesame Street songs on my Big Bird phonograph player. I would do whole shows, dressed up and did all the characters. You know, and I wanted to be Madonna like every little girl in the 80s did, but I don't know, it's weird, like now I've been able to do a little bit of like dancing or singing a little bit because of just the people that I've met, like off camera or just on camera for just kind of roles, and it's been really great, but now acting is really my thing.
So what's the dodgiest lyrics that you've ever written? Like, can you remember some pretty weird lyrics you wrote as a kid that you thought would be a good song, and now looking back you think, maybe not?
Yeah, but actually it's a song I wrote with my brother and my mom when I was 10.
Okay.
And we had just moved to San Francisco we had just been there, and there was it was in '89 when the big 7.0 hit,
right.
And
Shake Your Booty?
Yeah, no. It was really bad. And I remember we were all like separate together. It was my brother, my mom, and myself, and we were all separate when it happened. And we came back and sort of went through all the perishables.
Yep.
Perishables, yeah. Because you know, the electricity was off, and you know, it was a really kind of hard time. And we all sat there. My mom was like, you know, my brother was 5, I was 10. My mom thought it would be a great idea if we all wrote a song together to make ourselves like cheer each other up.
Right.
And so we made this song because we were eating all like cheese and milk and like whatever was in the refrigerator at the time, and it was kind of just gross, and you know, we were making just like fart jokes. Like I don't know how we got into like fart jokes and stuff. Mom was like, okay, let's write a song, and I was like, okay, we'll call it Fast Food Service.
All right, okay.
And so that kind of initiated it, and it goes a little something like this. It's so retarded.
I can't wait for this one. Yeah.
Dump one eye, dump your other eye. Pick your nose and stick it in your mouth. Wipe your butt and have some dessert. Drink your pee and have some tea. Clean your ears and take out the wax. Give it to the waitress and don't pay tax. Fast food service.
Oh man, you put a beat to that. That could be a hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Why not?
It's like off the charts, son.
You never know these days in music.
And you never know who you're going to meet, like the time I got to have a coffee in LA with Rocky legend Burt Young and ask him about the letter that he wrote that literally changed his life and started his dream.
I was in every business that didn't need an inventory. You know, and my wife was hating me pretty good then. I hear mama calls.
She needs something too.
I don't have a baby.
No, it was not mine either.
And I met this girl, and I wasn't like a wolf type of guy. But she was so beautiful, and she worked in a bar, like on Wednesday night. I'd go every Wednesday for a month. She'd have nothing to do with me. She'd talk to everybody else.
This in New York?
Yeah. And then I'd be humble one night, another, I'd be tough guy, another. And I finally, as a last resort, I started rapping about her being an actor. And she lit up. And she said she wanted to study with Lee Strasberg, only she couldn't get in. So I thought it was a girl. I didn't know who the hell Lee Strasberg was.
No way.
I found out who he was. I wrote a letter. Guy invites me over his house. The letter was. I'm not making a new. I have a good
memory.
Conk. Yeah, I'm up there. You know. Dearly, if an acting background is a prerequisite, read no further. Hello, if you're still with me, acting none, life credits, prep plenty. A, first assault conviction. B, first baby born. C, first homicide indictment. All the way down, very flip. And at the end I said, seriously, Lee, I don't know if acting has anything for me or vice versa, but I'm treading water. See me. Calls me over his house.
That's a cool story.
And then I'm over his house. I never talked to strangers then at all. I was a pure street guy, you know. And so now knowing he fingerprinted Marlon Brando, Marilyn Monroe, you know, I was even more tight-lipped. You know? And he's trying to draw me out. And I'm giving him one-syllable answers. You know, yeah, no. And he says, I don't think you could be an actor. So I got up to leave. He says, sit down. He says, I never saw such tension in a man's face.
Wow.
He says, but I feel you're an emotional library. Would you work with me? And that's how I started.
Wow, that's an awesome story.
Yeah, so some great memories travelling around, including hanging out with Irish rugby legend Brian O'Driscoll, who will probably go down as the greatest Irish rugby player of all time. And we sat down and spoke about the moment he found out he was going to be captain of his country. Now, going back to the day, I mean, tell me what it was like when was it Keith Wood that was captain of Ireland?
Yeah, Keith was captain before me.
He retires, and what did it feel like for you being 25? I mean, I don't know if you're the youngest ever captain. I would say that you must be close.
No, there's a few. There's 2 or 3 below me, but.
Wow. Well, I mean, what did it feel like the day or at the phone call that it came when they told you were going to be the captain of the?
Well, what happened was it was while Keith was injured before the World Cup, and strangely enough, it was against Australia that I got my first test as captain, and that was when November 2002. So.
Did you lose?
No, we won.
How'd that happen anyway?
November 2002. So I was 23 at the time.
Wow.
Really, that's weird.
That is, man. It's got to be the youngest. Are you sure?
No, it's not. There were 2. I think definitely 2 below me. I was 23.
Wow. And finally, a moment for me that just meant so much at the time. One of my biggest heroes in boxer, Roy Jones Jr. I was at the airport one night, and this happened.
Alright, so sitting here at LAX, having a bad night because my flight's been delayed, but then one of my all-time heroes walks by, and that is the man I've always wanted to interview actually in boxing, which is Roy Jones Jr. Roy, how you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Where are you flying to?
I'm flying back home to Pensacola, Florida.
Okay, so we just had the big fight that was on just recently. Winky Wright did really well, huh?
Did really well against Felix Trinidad.
Yep.
Now, I ask a lot of people, man, about their dreams and stuff. Do you feel like you've lived your dream, or if not, what's the grand plan dream for you?
No, I live my dream.
Yeah?
Over and over again. I mean, I never dreamed of becoming heavyweight champion, and one night I did have a dream as a professional fighter to become heavyweight champion. I did it, so what else could I do?
Was it like when you had that fight with John Ruiz, which I watched in Australia, man, that was just unbelievable. Like, was that just something, like what age did that start for you? When you thought, I mean, there's a great scene in the movie Raging Bull where they're talking with Jake LaMotta saying, man, Joe Louis is a heavyweight, you're a middleweight, it's impossible. You proved that possible. Like,
Yeah, I definitely proved that possible, and what happened was about 1995 or 96, I just felt like, you know what, if you this good, fight for the heavyweight title. And I started trying to get Holyfield to fight me, but he wouldn't fight me, so I waited till I finally got my opportunity, and I took it.
right. And so it was boxing something that you were always going to get into? I know your father trained you as a youngster and stuff.
Boxing was always my dead love off the top. I just knew I could do it.
And you've been in the Matrix?
Yeah, I was in the Matrix too. I actually shot down in Australia, yep.
Do you think that, like, within, particularly what you've proved, that really anything's possible, right?
Anything is possible. You should never let nobody give you boundaries. Only God should give you boundaries.
Yeah, so there it is. Pretty fun for me to look back on all kinds of people in all kinds of places sharing stories in chasing dreams. There's probably over 500 different interviews that you can see if you want with the show, where I made it all by myself with a handy cam on YouTube. Just type in The Web Show. But thanks for watching this clip.